Disneyers, it's Manny again, and I just had a fantastic Run Disney weekend. Of course, this is a recap, and I always say that things are magical, they're great, but if I had to add another adjective to describe what I just went through, the word would be humbling. I'm gonna start off by just saying thank you. Thank you all for such a magical weekend. You enhanced my experience. I hope I added to your experience. And we're gonna do the recap video, but I wanted to start off by giving a big thank you to you guys. Now, before we get started, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, a like, and of course, share this information with everybody. Comment down below. I just love interacting with you guys. Even if it's not here, you want to comment on social media. Manny Runs Disney on Instagram and Facebook. I keep wanting to say others, but I will add others as time goes by. But please message me directly. I do answer everything. It might take a little while to answer everything, but I do answer everything. And let's get right to this video. So as usual, I'm gonna go over the whole weekend and I'm gonna go in chronological order. So I'm gonna start off with just the travel. So my first day when I traveled, it was great. We were there early. I actually got to see some of you, including one San Antonio neighbor who apparently I run behind their house on a semi-regular basis. So it was great to see you. Great to see you on the course. I'll be running by your house probably tomorrow. So I hope that all of you guys had a seamless experience, but I'll say this before I even continue going on, is that I'm giving you everything from my perspective. So my perspective is a lot different. And of course, when we get to the Expo, we're about to head there. My perspective going through Club Run Disney is a lot different than people, the mere mortals who just had to go through the regular thing. But let's hit the Expo first. So to me, the Expo is a lot different than probably most of you guys because I do Club Run Disney, so I have to get there early. It was a little bit of an anomaly that morning because it was just weird. I don't think they had a lot of Lyft drivers that morning or a lot of Uber drivers, so the prices just spiked. So we ended up getting together with a few other people. We ended up getting one from the hotel, the resort we were staying at. We went over there. The Expo itself was pretty seamless to me. Got there, went through the merchandise, was able to see the merchandise. And if you see that for the first time in forever, well, actually ever, they had Club Run Disney merchandise. So they had, here you're gonna see a couple of things, but they had the cap, they had this, the baseball jersey, and they had a bag. So when I got there to pick up the bib, it wasn't that bad either. We were able to pick up the bibs pretty quickly. I got some character pictures, but the only problem is the one with the magic shot. Apparently in mine, I was having problems, so it never came out. Another thing that I thought was really, really cool was these, and I'm gonna show you this, it's this wooden map, and they have these wooden maps that are now coming up. They have some generic ones. If you pay a little bit extra, they'll personalize it for you. I thought this was great, and since, and I'll get to it, but I'm a perfect two-course challenge runner, I'm gonna go ahead and get this, and when I do get this, when they do ship it to me, I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna unbox it in a separate video, but I want you guys to see. A lot of people were asking, are they gonna have this for marathon weekend, maybe Princess, and so forth and so on? And the answer is what they told me was yes. Disneyland, I'm not 100% sure, but they did tell me that they would be there for marathon weekend and Princess. And of course, if you don't already, go and say hello to Jeff Galloway. I had the pleasure of chit-chatting with this great legend, Run Disney legend, just a running legend, and he's always great to talk to. He's very inspirational. Jeff, you're awesome. We're looking forward to following you in Hawaii. He's gonna be doing the Honolulu Marathon in December, so I'm gonna be following him. So now we're gonna move over to the 5K. The 5K to me was pretty cool. A friend of mine, Princess Lizzie, wanted to start in the back. She wanted to get like the feeling of what it was like to start off in the back. Before I go any further, I wanted to say hello to young Prince Caden. Your mom did magical, she did awesome. I hope you saw that in the video. Didn't give the shout out then, but now we're giving you the shout out. So during the 5K, we did not stop for a lot of character pictures. I think there was 4 or 5 and we stopped for 2 of them. But this has got to be one of my favorite pictures of all time. And the reason is because if you see there's multiple charities that are represented there. I thought that was really, really cool. We were able to, just by chance, we were able to get people from different charities in one picture. And I thought that was magical. And of course, we had the return of jogging Captain Jack Sparrow. He flat out told me that he's never gone away, but it was so great to see him. So for the 10K, just like I said I was gonna do, I went for time. So I did not get any character pictures. Now, what time did I get? Because remember, my goal was to be between 1 hour and 10 minutes, 1 hour and 15 minutes. So according to runDisney, when I look up my results, it was an hour 14:35, which was a 12 minute 1 second pace. But when I look up my Garmin time is when I turned it on, and I turned it on when we started, and I turned it off when we finished. It was 1 hour, 13 minutes, 47 seconds, which basically comes out to an 11 minute, 32 minute pace. So basically I hit my goal. It was somewhere in between there. The only regret that I have on that race is that one of the characters was the frozen trolls. And I was debating whether to stop or not. I probably would have added at least 30 seconds, probably closer to a minute. I don't think I wanted to do that, but it was one of those rare characters that I really had to think about. Is it a big regret? No, but I hope to God now that I know that they may be in a future run. So for the half marathon, I decided to start in the back to try to see if we can help as many people across that finish line as possible. So I had a different perspective because I was able to, because of those circumstances. I got 19 out of the 21 pictures. The 2 I did not get one was Mando and Grogu. And the reason that we did not get those is he was just not even there. So the other ones that we didn't get were Mickey and Minnie, and because as it usually happens, they have such a long line, the balloon ladies passed us, if we get too far behind them, then we have no choice, we have to get on the parade bus, so I decided to keep going. But I got some great pictures with the balloon ladies, with the other 2 unofficial balloon guys, with just runners, friends of ours, and even somebody came up to me, and I love this. I thought it was great. Somebody said, "Hey, you said on your videos that we can join you for any pictures," and I said, "Come on in." So we were able to get a couple of pictures with that person. It was awesome. It was great. It was magical. Talk a little bit more about the races in a little bit, but I wanted to touch on the after party. Now, I got there a little bit early. I was walking around, I got something to eat, did a few rides. Be honest with you, by 10:30 I was exhausted. I actually left about that time. Disney, I think, does a great job with the characters. Everything I heard was as the time went by, once we got to like midnight, there was hardly anybody there. You could basically get whatever character pictures, whatever you wanted to. And so I have a suggestion later on, but that's one of those, I just want to touch on the after party. So now I'll go over the bad, the good, and the great, but I think it's going to be a lot of great. But the things we need to work on also, so we'll go ahead and touch on that in the middle. But let's start off with what I thought was bad. The only thing I thought that was bad, and again, this is not anything against anybody out there, was basically the weather was a little bit warmer than we first thought. I always say this, it was funny because the week before was about the same, but this coming week, which is the week that we usually run, it's gonna be basically ideal, between 50 to 55 to start, 75 basically is gonna be the high, so it should be cool all day. I thought that would be ideal. Of course, they moved it because of Halloween, and next year it's gonna be probably the same thing because Halloween falls on a Saturday. There's a possibility that if it falls on a Sunday, they're gonna do the same thing. This should go back to normal in a couple of years, to the normal weekend. And also, I had never seen that many people go down. And if you were one of those, I hope you're okay. When I was filming, I actually filmed a couple of people go down. I had to go back and edit it. If you watch the videos, I don't believe there's anybody in there who had fallen. If you notice, there's a little bit of jump cuts, and that is because I wanted to get those people out of there. I didn't want to put them up on video for anybody to see that, but I hope you're okay. If you are out there, you want to comment down below, or just message me directly to say, hey, I'm okay. Great, because I didn't hear that anybody was seriously hurt, but that was probably one of the worst things that I saw, is that a lot of people went down. And because of that, there was a lot of people who didn't finish. You know my goals. My goal is to try to get as many people to finish as possible. I do have one regret, which I'll talk about at the very end of this video, but my goal is still to see if I can get as many of you guys to finish. Let's work on that, and I'll continue to do training videos, anything I can do to help. And so maybe at one point we can get 100% of people to finish. Now, the only other thing that was bad is me personally was my foot. My foot did bother me, I think, because I pushed it a little bit in the 10K, which is another thing that I need to work on. So now if you notice, I'm gonna put it back on me, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to train harder for these and train more smart, to make sure that my foot can, withstand the whole weekend. And I know it can. Marathon weekend is going to be a challenge in itself, but I'm going to work on that. But that was the only other two. Those are the only two things that were bad. So things that we need to work on, there's two of them. One is going to be about with runDisney. It's nothing horrible or anything. And then one is going to be with us. So the first one is going to be Disney with the after party, and I noticed that the last few years there's been less and less people staying there. I think it's just a little bit too late. I think I touched on that last year, and I really do think that we should start the party as early as 7. That would be ideal to finish off at about 10 or 11 or maybe 8 to 11. Worst case scenario, 9 to 12. I think a lot more of us would be able to stand that, but I'm getting older and I get to the point where I just sit there going like, okay, I'm done. And so that's what happened. But I do think that hopefully they'll take that in consideration because of the concert series that is going on at the same time. I think it's going to be more difficult for them to do that, but maybe even 9:30. So the other thing we need to work on is going to be running etiquette. My opinion is that it's getting better and better overall. Now, what I saw, especially when I had to run a little bit faster, the 10K, I had to dodge a lot of people. What I've noticed, and again, if you watch the videos, walkers are everywhere. People say, well, the runner had to like do this. Well, a lot of times runners have to do that because we're trying to stay to the left, but because there's so many people all over the place, it's not viable for us to do that. I think there's something there's something to it that people that are walking, they don't pay attention, or because there's walkers at different speeds and so they're all over the place, and that can cause that to happen. And they kind of expect later on in the run that there's probably going to be a little bit more walkers and there will be joggers or runners, and that in a runDisney event is going to be a little bit more predominant. I still think we can work on it a little bit more, but again, overall I think it's getting better and better. But remember, if you are walking to the right, if you're walking faster, start coming over kind of in levels, and let the runners stay on the left. And then remember this, there's different levels of runners. Some runners are gonna be a little bit more fast, some are gonna be a little bit more slow jogging, so the paces are gonna be different. So again, if you're a slower jogger, come a little bit more to the right. Let the faster runners come by. You notice if you run with me, I turn and I always look. If there's somebody faster coming by, I move over, let them go by. Just like a car. Just remember, this is just basically, it's a highway. We need to make sure that we're courteous with every driver out there. So now to me, everything was great from here on out. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with what was great. Now this company is gonna love me for this, and hopefully I'll get them a lot more business, but these wooden maps were awesome. They were so great. If you didn't get a chance, go over and look at them. The gentleman who runs the booth was awesome. It's a personal thing for them. It's like a family business. So I went over there and chit-chatted with him. I ordered one, and yesterday I personalized it. So hopefully in the next few weeks, maybe a month from now, I'll get it, I'll unbox it. I thought this was a great idea. It's a magical idea. It's a little bit different than what is out there, but because I am perfect for the 2-course challenge, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just splurge and I'm gonna get this. You can get basic ones that are not personalized that you can get there at the Expo. They're gonna be a lot cheaper. If you get it personalized, it's gonna be a little bit more expensive, and they do mail it to you. And I just touched on it, but I thought this was really great, that I am a perfect status. I didn't even know the history of this. I was just doing these runs. Then the year after the pandemic, when they brought these back, I get this email saying that I'm perfect status. Do I want to register early? I figured, okay, I'll do this. And it was funny because for years I didn't even know I didn't know I could do this. And so it was real cool, but they gave us these two things. So this is basically to put your wine bottles in. It's like a wine bottle cooler, I'm sorry. And this is like the wine stopper, and I'll put this right here. So you see that, and it says perfect on it, perfect right there. And I got a few really cool pictures also. So I didn't think this was possible, but the MCs, the DJs, the cast members who are out there, they just always do a magical job, but I just love the stories. I love listening to Riley interact with people. I have a couple of things that I'm gonna be working on, and hopefully we can enhance, especially something with charities. I'll talk about that in a little bit, But man, I always think it's magical when you hear these stories that are going on. And I think that's one of the magical things about Disney is the stories. And I appreciate the fact that the MCs, the cast members, the DJs, they help bring these stories out and share them with us. Another magical thing is basically the way it seemed like it was an endless amount of you guys that I was running into. Some of them obviously for more, for obvious reasons, they were very obvious. Other ones just at the parks. But I loved the fact that I was running and I stopped to record in the overpass. This was for the half marathon. I stayed with the balloon ladies, so they're walking and they actually passed me up. But I stayed there and recorded with you guys. And then a lot of you guys, thank you, Ash Marie. I got that video and I was touched. It was so awesome. So I'll put it at the very end. But Ash Marie recorded while I was recording you guys. It was so awesome to interact with you guys. And to piggyback on that too, if you watch the half marathon video, there was that 1 mile that we ran. Basically, I think it was one-ish mile that we ran from going to Blizzard Beach, the parking lot when we ran around there. There wasn't as much running in there as we usually do, but there was that 1 mile, and we were on the left, or we were facing you to the left and you guys were coming back the other way, and I got to interact with so many of you guys. Somebody posted today, thank you Lena for doing that. It was so awesome to see that, just watching you guys, interacting with you guys, and got to say hi to you guys. It was just so awesome. And again, that's part of the course encouragement. That's what the Running Years is moving towards, where we're just going to be course encouragers. So there's more and more people that are doing that now. So I thought that was so magical. I mean, I can keep talking about it forever, but thank you very much. Just saying hello is just something simple. Seeing you guys, seeing some people that I was kind of worried about because I had interacted with you guys, and seeing that you're moving forward, that you're gonna finish, I think that was great. And just to finish off on the great, to piggyback on what I just said, is just hanging out with a lot of you guys. So I got to hang out at the parks, at the resorts, just eating. At the airport, it was so magical. We got delayed, and it wasn't that bad of a delay because there was a lot of people who got delayed. It was on Monday afternoon / evening, and we just kind of hung out. We shared stories. It was awesome. Next thing you know is, hey, it's the delay is over, or we have to get on the plane and stuff. It almost felt like I wanted to stay a little bit longer with these people. So thank you guys. That was amazing. That was great. That was magical. If you ever see me at the airport, I'm hanging out. It doesn't matter if I'm hanging out by myself or anybody. Please come up and say hi. You want to share stories? I'd love to share stories. I do have one big regret, and it's not getting the picture with the frozen troll. It was the fact that I couldn't get everybody across that finish line. I tried my hardest. I tried to interact. A lot of times I used different tactics to try to to make sure that you guys finish. One particular person I interacted a lot, with mile marker 10, 11, and they didn't make it. If that person is on there, please reach out to me via social media. I'd like to talk to you because I want to find a way in a future run to get you across that finish line. I think you did amazing. You were doing an amazing job for what you had, and the weather was not ideal, but that was one of my regrets. You don't know how much I hate when I have to turn and look and I go like, man, they're not gonna make it, and it's not a fun thing for me. I smile for everybody, but inside there's part of me that goes, can I carry them? Can I do something? I do want to get everybody across. This was an actual true interaction. I remember talking to one of the sheriff's people who was on the bike. Great people, by the way. I interacted with them a lot. I had nothing but great interactions with them. But I had told them about my goal. I said, I want to make sure that we can get everybody across. And he said, but you look fine. And I said, yeah, I cross these all the time. I'm fine with this. But you never know what anybody is going through, and that's one of the magical things about running, and especially Run Disney, is that you don't know what anybody's going through, and you don't know that just them finishing this run or any of these runs, what that may mean for their rest of their lives. And I think that's amazing. I think it's great. That's why I love Riley so much. I love the MCs. They try to get everybody across. Carissa, John, Tracy, they all do a great job with this. And I am going to do my part as much as I can to make sure in future runs that every single person gets across that finish line. If you have any doubts or anything, please do not hesitate to message me directly. Again, I don't share your names or anything with anybody. And if you want to set up a time at the marathon weekend in Princess, Springtime Surprise, whatever, Disneyland, whatever it is, and we can meet up a little bit and we can chit chat about that. Thank you guys for putting up with me. This was great. This was awesome. I can talk about this forever, and I probably missed a few things. So if there's anything I missed, please comment down below. The good, the bad, something that you might have thought wasn't great, something we can work on, something that was great, please comment down below. I wanted to say there was 2 things that I'm going to be talking about in future videos. And by future, I mean within the next week, or probably by next week. One of them has to do with if you want to have some kind of discount. There's something that's coming up, and I'll talk about that by next week. So the second thing I'm gonna talk about, and that might take a little bit longer, so it might not be next week, but it's an idea that I have, but I wanna share it sooner than later because it has to do with the charities. So I wanted to make it a little bit more magical for the charities that are represented at the Run Disney event. And so, just stick with me for a little bit while I put these ideas together, and then we'll share them. Thank you very much for putting up with me again. Thank you so much. Please check out the run videos if you haven't already, especially that half marathon video. That mile was a magical mile for me. I just had a great time, and I know the balloon ladies, Brandon and Dennis and I just had a magical time, and everybody who was back there just had a magical time just interacting with you guys. And without further ado, thank you so much. Create a magical day, create a magical run, and guys, we will see you sooner than later.